Hey YouTube, how's it going? I am Peter, aka the Mutton Chop Guy. I am the host of the podcast on podcastgarden.com called Brothers Chronicles Sparks Reignited Magic the Gathering, or MTG. What I'm doing right now is I'm making a video to have as a visual aid for my listeners, and I was hoping that if anyone else saw this video, they might like it. They may want to check out my podcast just to see if they like the content. If not, it's totally fine. This is just pretty much just deck tech and visual aids to help kind of drive a point home for my listeners who do listen to me. If you do like this video, go ahead, hit the like button or comment what you think about it. I would actually like to get you guys' feedback on it. This has been a really good deck that I've been doing for a good while, and basically is a deck that I know fell out of a lot of people's favor, but I still really like the deck, and it's still a really strong deck. I just felt like it really needed to have a lot of work done on it to really understand what the deck really wanted to do, and I think I found it. So I'm just going to jump right into it. What the basis of the deck is. So basis of the deck is that it is a mid-range deck on its front. So you have things like Sylvan Advocate's Tireless Tracker. It's good early efficient threats. Sylvan Advocate gets bigger in the later game, which is great, which is something that you always want for a good threat, to do something early and do something late. And Tireless Tracker just provides good card advantage with its clues and a couple of other synergies with the rest of the deck. And he's a good efficient threat once he starts getting bigger, and he tends to get bigger relatively quickly. And then you have Filigree Familiar as a good utility option. Gains you 2 life, and replaces itself when it dies, and has other synergies with it. First real good threat is Kaladesh against creature heavy decks, and the vehicle decks and things like that. Really helps you just stabilize and build a board presence at the same time. And then we have things like Ishkana, which is part of the Delirium package we have running. Just good to get ahead. Gets you caught up from behind. Is just good efficient threat all the way around, and I just kind of have fallen in love with this card just by using it, not really going with the hype, but it does provide really good work in this deck. It's something that the deck really needs if it has some trouble with flyers, especially with Smuggler's Copter right now. And then we have the Extended Mindbender as the Merge Singleton package. Just good efficient threat. I didn't want to just have sorceries of this card. I wanted something that can do devastating damage and still be a lethal threat on the board, and this was the perfect option. Maybe run one more of it if I want to, but I really feel like just one's doing good right now. And then the good old finisher is Emrakul herself, and that's what I think what this deck really needed to be very strong, was very strong and powerful finisher. Since it tends to fill up the graveyard relatively easily, I felt like just going to the Delirium package with this and using Emrakul as the big finisher was what the deck really needed, and it pushed it really far over the top. So with that in mind, we'll go through the rest of the stuff. Sinister Concoction is part of our removal package. It's an enchantment, so it adds to Delirium, and originally had it in there for Emrakul. Not as much anymore. It's more for Smuggler's Copter, but it's still good for Emrakul. So I kind of wanted to diversify that, and it's at instant speed to destroy it. So kudos to me. English Item Making, perfect answer to catch all any problem permanents. It can get rid of Smuggler's Copter, and granted, you are losing 3 life, but you're probably going to lose that 3 life anyway if you didn't deal with it. So that is to me, that's an equal payoff to deal with something so problematic like that. Grasp of Darkness, premium black removal, instant speed, Smuggler's Copter gets killed by it, live efficient threats get killed by it, and it's just all around really just good right now. Pulse of Marasa is there for the life game against aggressive decks, helps get creature backs in the mid to late game, can get land back to help you develop your mana base, very strong. Still really good. I like it. Then To the Slaughter, more of the removal. Better payoff in terms of Delirium in this case, because against control decks right now, since they're running things like Torrential Bigger Hulk and a couple of planeswalkers. If they have both of them and I have Delirium, I can take out their biggest threat and I can take out their planeswalker. So, it's a good 2-for-1 in that sense, and I love it. Against control, don't really sideboard this out. Just hold on to them till you see a planeswalker and you have Delirium. And hopefully you have a way to kill another creature to make sure you can take out all their creatures. Because then technically it's like a 3-for-2. And it's, it's well worth it to help stabilize. And then for our Planeswalker package, we got Liliana. Usually use her for a +1. Very rarely have I used her for her -2. It's only if I have the big efficient threats I need to get, like Descent Mindbender, Emrakul, Ishkanah, or Kaladesh. Just any of these, really. It's what I would use. Never really use it for any of these unless Silver Advocate is pretty much the only one I would take because it just gets big in the late game. And it's a much faster, efficient threat than this and this. Then you have Obnixilis, which is great as a removal, card advantage. Very rarely that I ever use it for its emblem, but with control being very popular and they like to draw cards, getting this to ultimate would probably be a really good way to take them down. So I have kind of, as you guys can see, I have a very diversified threat answer setup, and that's what I thought was really needed, is just to have such flexibility of options to deal with. So actually it just deals with creatures, it can deal with control, gives you a source of card advantage. And then you have Sorin, which is just a really good bomb. Deals damage to your opponent, card advantage at the same time, gaining you life. Take out problematic creatures of planeswalkers, again, diversifying answers, and then gaining that much life. Ultimate is just kind of a win more condition. Kind of the same as like Liliana. Just the ultimate's there as another way to win the game in terms of inevitability, or just swing it back in my favor. That's something just to keep in mind, but usually everyone just kills it. And then we have Angelic Purge, which is a good old answer. 9 times out of 10, I'll sacrifice a clue. And 9 times out of 10, I'll also have a Tireless Tracker out. Because usually people are not expecting this, but it can get rid of Smuggler's Copter, Emrakul's, Favored Visions, Magic Summonings, Panharmonicon. It can get rid of any of those things that are very problematic, and it exiles it so they can't really get it back if they had a way to. So definitely something to keep in mind. Declaration Stone, Primo removal. Diabolic Tutor is the replacement for Dark Petition. Granted, I do know Dark Petition was stronger, it was much more powerful, made the deck much better. However, this is what we have, and Tamiya's Journal, while it was great with Tireless Tracker, it was just way too slow, and sometimes I would just get grinded out way too quickly. This kind of just helps that speed effect. It just, go and get it immediately, and start setting yourself up. Fumigate is the sweeper that we have in here. It's a much better sweeper in my opinion than Planar Outburst. Granted, Planar Outburst gets you a creature, but this gains you life. And especially against aggressive decks, if they have the go wide strategy and you pop the board with this and blow everything up, you gain all that life. And it actually kind of swings you right back and kind of drives you to make sure you get to that late game if necessary. This Service Renewal, perfect ramp, perfect life gain. You really want to set up your mana with this thing. I always take the option, if I can play it, to play it, because the life gain usually is enough to kind of help me survive into the next couple of turns. Ruinous Pass, again, diversified answer, removal, creature or planeswalker. It can make a creature itself. Again, diversifying the threat and answer package. And the namesake card, Seasons Past, of course you guys know what it does. It can get all the stuff back that I need. It can just grind everything out. 9 times out of 10, usually people just see me keep grinding them out and they never really see how far I can go. But usually it usually ends. So, onto the sideboard. We got a full playset of Transgressive Mind. Since control is really huge, we don't need that much removal. We can take out like Declaration Stone and Ruinous Path, Fumigate, put this stuff in there, and just keep kind of our instant speed removal stuff in. Lost Legacy is probably a good answer to bring you control. Flame Tendril is a good early sweeper against aggro decks. Usually, by the time I get to play this is big enough to survive, this is already big enough to survive, that's big enough to survive, Good early sweeper, keeps all my creatures alive for the most part. And then Colin Balls for a lot of the control decks. This is actually something I've been testing out against a lot of the control matchups. And it's been working out really, really well. I highly recommend you guys trying it. Just because since they don't play a lot of creatures, this kind of gives you the death and taxes answer. It kind of helps you stay alive against burn and kill them slowly. It's just kind of like Fever Visions just turn into spell in spell form. And I actually would think it would be insane somebody actually put those two cards in the same deck. I would just freak out. Please don't. Please don't. But yeah, this is actually really good against Fever Visions decks. It's good against the Aetherworks Marvels deck because they don't play a lot of creatures besides a couple of them. Since they play a lot of artifacts, this actually kind of helps, takes care of that. Kind of helps gain his life while taxing them. It's like, well, if you don't get the answer soon, we're gonna kill you with it. Granted, it's pretty easy to kill with like Harness Lightning stuff, so I don't necessarily think it would be a good idea to bring this against like Jeskai, but he's been doing really well. And you can always get him back with Seasons Past or Liliana, any of those two. So you have ways of getting things back if you need to in a pinch. Cataclysmic Gearhulk is something against the mid-range decks, which I'm actually greatly appreciative of because it just does what it needs to do. Since they want to grind me out, I am grinding them out. This kind of helps with the board styles. Okay, let me just wipe your board pretty well. Any leftover I can probably remove with my removal. And, it's just fantastic. Especially if they have multiple planeswalkers and multiple creatures. And I nuke this and they only have one left, and then I go ahead and pop to the slaughter with Delirium. Oh my god, guys. It's just crazy. It's just like I completely wipe you out. And most people can't bounce back from that. Of course, the Fumigate's in there for, again, aggro matchup. I kind of pull out some of the removal to bring in the sweepers, just to keep the board cleared and keep myself going. Lost Legacies for any of the combo decks. I know it doesn't grab artifacts, however, it does grab their combo pieces like Emrakul, Willamog. It can grab you sorceries that are a problem, like Transgress the Mind, things like that, especially for this deck, because if they can manage to exile your Seasons Past, then you're kind of just a mid-range deck with a very poor late game plan, especially if you don't have ways to get it back. I have been considering about running Wildest Dreams in here, but I don't know yet. That's pretty taxing on the mana for the late game. Appetite of the Unnatural is for, of course, Smuggler's Copter. It's a good life gain, and it's a catch-all, artifact and enchantment hate. Natural State's kind of good, but it doesn't hit certain things I would pose to be a problem, like Panharmonicon, because it's way too much advantage for the opponent to get, and I'm not getting any of it. This also can get Aetherworks Marvel, so hopefully after you let the thing resolve and they completely whiff on anything, then you just destroy it as quickly as possible. That's been proven effective, but I really think that the deck's not going to be super popular. I do think there are going to be people who are dedicated fans to that deck, and it's really going to try to hone in on how to make it work, how to defend itself, how to plug its weaknesses, because I feel like it just has a lot of weaknesses just going all in, which most decks are like that are like that. So of course now I also have Abzan, great against the mid-range decks. I can, if I go in a different route instead of going like the Delirium package, I can take out some of the Delirium package, run this and this card, which is Demon of Dark Schemes, which I'll get to in a minute, and be kind of a different type of deck. I would be more of I can grind you out with a great late game option and a recursion package for all my creatures and just keep bringing them back, and it just overwhelms my opponent with so much grind. I can flash this in if they try to fumigate me, or what other Kozilek's Return would be a good example of something I want to save all my creatures from. The fumigate, of course. I can't really save it from Cataclysmic Gearhulk, but anything I have left and they just try to attack in, I can just flash her in and take care of that. And the Demon of Dark Schemes is probably like my new favorite card right now. Mostly just because he reminds me of Tened the Harvester, and I love that card, and this is very similar to that, except it has the energy theme. But getting this out pretty easily with taking down their creatures. Especially if I have like flame tendrils, it's actually kind of funny because then I can do this and hopefully take them out. But having this out and then kind of close my gear hulking and they have a bunch of creatures that die, I just get a crap load of energy and then recur all their creatures back because I can get from any graveyard. But that's my sideboard. Of course my mana base is kind of still in the works, but basically my basic land package is 3 forests, 3 plains, 5 swamps. I have full playset of Shambling Vent and Hissing Quagmire. Of course, Sylvan Advocate, great synergy there, great mana sink. Evolving Walls to help with the Delirium package. Canopy Vista to just kind of help with the mana fixing, and I'm testing out Concealed Courtyard and Blooming Marsh in here as a way to help. It's actually been very effective. Don't really want to know if I can put in more to keep the number I want for Nissa's Renewal and the basic land package because I like being able to grab as many as I can each time I use it. So that is my deck. It is Abzan Seasons Past. It's not as what it used to play as just trying to get to the late game. This is, kind of acting like a Jund Delirium style deck, but it instead of red it's black, or instead of red it's white, and it's just great. I love this deck. I hope you guys enjoyed this deck tech. Let me know in the comments what you guys think about it, what things I've tried. We'll have a lovely discussion about it. You can also hit me up on my email, which will be in the description below. We can talk there. You can check me on Facebook at the Brothers Chronicles MTG. I'm always, on there waiting for anyone to hit me up. And thanks you guys for watching, and I hope you guys enjoy the matches I will putting up in the next video. I'll see you guys next time.